The human side of generative AI, creating a path to productivity. Abstract. The rapid rise of generative artificial intelligence, AI, presents both opportunities and challenges for organizations. While generative AI offers transformative potential to boost productivity through new forms of data creation, its implementation also brings significant human impacts that require thoughtful leadership. This article explores the human side of generative AI from both theoretical and practical perspectives, focusing on change management, people-centered design, and responsible implementation. Key areas include managing cognitive, emotional, and behavioral responses to AI-driven change, as well as fostering cultures of transparency, learning, and accountability. The article highlights best practices such as early stakeholder involvement, iterative evaluation, and robust governance to ensure generative AI aligns with human needs and ethical standards. Case studies, including Anthropic's AI safety efforts, illustrate how leaders can promote responsible innovation by integrating human-centered practices throughout the technology lifecycle. By proactively addressing the human dimensions of AI adoption, organizations can achieve sustainable productivity gains while maintaining trust, well-being, and ethical integrity. Artificial intelligence has seen tremendous growth over the past decade and is becoming increasingly generative in nature. While generative AI shows great promise for enhancing productivity, its development and implementation also presents significant human challenges that must be addressed proactively by organizational leaders. Today, we will explore the human side of generative AI from both theoretical and practical perspectives, with the goal of helping leaders chart a path toward maximized productivity through thoughtful people-centered design and change management. The rise of generative AI. Generative AI refers to machine learning techniques that allow systems to automatically create and produce new data such as images, audio, video, and text. Park et al. 2022. Recent advances in deep learning, massive data, and computing power have enabled generative AI applications to generate increasingly sophisticated and human-like outputs. Ravella et al. 2020. For example, advances in natural language processing have led to conversational chatbots and virtual assistants that can discuss a wide range of topics and hold surprisingly coherent conversations. Miller et al. 2022. Meanwhile, generative adversarial networks, GANs, have enabled the creation of photorealistic images, videos, and music that are nearly indistinguishable from human-generated examples. Goodfellow et al. 2014. As computing capabilities continue to grow exponentially and generative models become more performant, their applications will expand into new domains at an accelerating pace. Brynjolfsson and Mitchell. 2017. Navigating change and its human impacts while promising new capabilities. The rise of generative AI will inevitably drive significant organizational change that leaders must thoughtfully navigate. Change psychology research identifies three key human reactions to change: cognitive, the mental and rational side; emotional, the feeling side; and behavioral, the actions people take. Oreg et al. 2011. Leaders play an essential role in properly addressing each dimension to ease disruption and maximize productivity benefits. Cognitive impacts. Generative AI's capabilities challenge existing job role definitions and skill requirements, leaving some roles at risk of significant change or obsolescence. Fry and Osborne. 2017. This cognitive uncertainty can undermine motivation, trust, and perceived job security if not addressed properly through open communication and retraining opportunities. Dirani. 2020. Leaders must work transparently with teams to define how roles may evolve, identify transferable skills, and provide learning support to ease cognitive transitions. Cascio and Monteliger. 2016. Emotional impacts. Strong emotional reactions often accompany organizational change as familiar routines and relationships are disrupted. DeJoy and Schaefer. 1995. Workers replacing human tasks with AI may feel worried about job loss. Jealous of coworkers adapting better or generally stressed by adapting to new technologies, Krishnan and Singh. 2020. Leaders can help dissipate these reactions by establishing an empathetic culture where concerns can be voiced openly to build reassurance, Oreg et al. 2011. They can also recognize excellent adaptation as a means of motivation. Behavioral impacts resistance to change arises when new behaviors are mandated before psychological readiness occurs, Oreg et al. 2011. With generative AI, leaders must give teams time and support to experiment voluntarily before requirements change, Wall and Baxter. 2008. Adoption tends to happen more smoothly when new habits are offered as an appealing opportunity rather than an obligation, Dirani. 2020. Leaders can incent healthy behavior by recognizing early adopters who then influence their peers through earned confidence, Venkatesh et al. 2016. People-centered design and development to maximize productivity gains while navigating change impacts. Leaders must follow principles of people-centered design and development for generative AI systems, Jobin et al. 2019. This involves iteratively consulting relevant human stakeholders throughout the technology lifecycle rather than as an afterthought. Early stakeholder involvement involving potential users, jobs experts, and ethics boards from the start helps ensure systems address real human needs and values, Weiner and McDonald. 2013. Early feedback prevents costly redesign later and builds trust that human priorities are guiding decisions, Dignam. 2018. Friedman and Kahn, 1992. For example, teams developing generative chatbots for customer service roles should involve frontline employees to understand conversational norms and priorities before building prototypes. Ongoing evaluation and iteration no matter how well-intentioned initial design may be. Generative AI's impacts are difficult to fully foresee and will vary across implementation contexts, Jobin et al. 2019. Leaders must therefore establish processes for ongoing stakeholder consultation, system evaluation, and iterative improvement based on emerging lessons, Mittelstadt. 2019. Rose et al. 2018. This may involve routine focus groups, surveys, and change impact assessments to identify needed adjustments before issues escalate, Millen et al. 2016. Responsible organizational implementation to maximize benefits while avoiding harms. Generative AI implementation must follow established best practices for responsible, ethical, and regulated use, Floridi et al. 2018. Leaders play an essential role in ensuring compliance and building an organizational culture supportive of these responsibilities. Establish governance and oversight. Clear policies and dedicated roles are needed for issues like data governance, system auditing, bias monitoring and mitigation, explainability, and appropriate human oversight, Jobin et al. 2019. Jebru et al. 2018. Leaders must sponsor cross-functional bodies, like an AI ethics board or a specialized team focused on system assurance, to formalize processes for ongoing responsibility, Mittelstadt. 2019. Foster responsible culture while processes aim to catch issues. The best assurances come from an organizational culture where responsibility is internalized, Dignam. 2018. Friedman and Kahn, 1992. Leaders can shape culture through visible personal commitment, recognized exemplars of responsibility, and intolerance of violations, Schneider et al. 2013. For example, celebrating employees who identify and help mitigate bias helps signal responsible innovation as a core value. Align incentives properly. Incentive structures must reward responsible behaviors to avoid issues like myopia around metrics. Siloed work, risk-taking, and cover-ups, Gebru et al. 2018. Amodi et al. 2016. Balanced scorecards, 360 reviews, and ethics performance reviews can counter incentives favoring only short-term gains, Arnold et al. 2016. Jung et al. 2019. For instance, tying bonuses or promotions to qualitative reviews of responsible practices over pure outputs. Practical application, applied lessons from Anthropic. An AI safety startup exemplifies leadership applying the research foundations discussed. Their approach demonstrates a path for maximizing productivity through people-centered design and responsible implementation of generative AI. Establishing iterative design culture, from the start. Anthropic involved human AI assistants, job experts, and outside review boards in scoping needs and providing ongoing feedback through many prototype iterations, Yudkowsky. 2022. This early consultation helped define priorities like helpfulness, honesty and harm avoidance in modeling conversational agents. Ongoing evaluation and culture shaping. Anthropic conducts frequent user studies and maintains channels for stakeholder input to qualitatively assess conversational agent impacts on jobs and people over time. Findings inform continued responsibility prioritization and culture shaping through internal documentation of lessons learned and publicly sharing research, McCormick et al. 2022. Formalizing governance and oversight. Anthropic's multi-tier governance structure includes a review board of experts in AI safety and ethics who validate research directions and system standards. Specialized technical roles focus on internal auditing, robustness and oversight to formalize learnings around responsible development practices, Irving et al. 2018. Aligning incentives for responsibility. Anthropic ties professional development, recognition and career incentives like promotion less to individual contributions or task completion and more to qualitative reviews of responsible practices. Relationship building and mindsets demonstrated, Bomasani et al. 2021. This de-emphasizes risks from misaligned motivations. Conclusion: as generative AI capabilities broaden applications and drive change at an accelerating pace, leadership addressing the associated human impacts will prove crucial to maximizing productivity benefits. People-centered design, transparent change management, responsible implementation practices, and cultures that internalize organizational responsibility provide a path forward. Leaders play an essential role establishing these foundations through personal commitment, resource allocation, and incentive structuring that prioritizes harmony between human needs and technical capabilities. By thoughtfully navigating generative AI's impacts and rewards, organizations can ensure its human side supports highly productive and ethical innovation.